right. You want to get started?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, there's housekeeping.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A portion and we will get to you as soon as we can. And I always forget this every time we do a webinar. We will have a poll at the very end. It takes 1 or 2 minutes of your time. It's just a couple of questions and it helps make sure that we are getting you the content you want to be watching. So make sure to, if you take a few minutes to fill out our poll, we would greatly appreciate that. Okay.
And hopefully a lot of you in the audience have tuned in to Dr. Nario's heart health webinar last Tuesday. It was very, very informative.
Yeah, it was. We got lots of fun ones this month. I like it. All right, Carrie.
So we're going to talk about the human heart. Continuously pumps blood throughout our body, which is why we do not want clogged arteries. Clogged arteries means narrowing of the arteries due to fatty plaques. 90% reduction in fatty plaques in your artery. You can decrease your chance of a stroke. You can also reduce the amount of fatty plaques in your arteries when you implement the right foods. And that's the good portion of our subject matter tonight are the foods that will help so we do not end up with clogged arteries.
Right. And you know, a lot of the foods that we're going to talk about too will also help with weight, which can also strengthen your heart health. For every extra pound of body fat, your heart has to pump blood an extra 14 miles with all your vessels and arteries.
Say that again. That's a good one.
Yeah, for every pound of pound of body fat that you have, your heart is pumping blood an extra 14 miles. So you have to remember too, obesity is a huge, huge contributor to poor heart health. We don't want to give the heart extra work. We want it to be a happy, healthy heart.
I found a poem.
Of course you did. I love it.
It's to be read in tandem with comma, comma, comma after each adjective. The heart can be touched, moved, lost, found, can be given away, like in love, right? Yeah. Or stolen. Stabbed like in heartbreak and broken, without a scar to show for it.
Oh, that's so true. And that reminds me of The Notebook, how they died from a broken heart. I love that movie.
Yeah. Broken heart syndrome. Yeah. And in keeping up with Valentine's Day, since it's February, here is a bit about the beet.
Oh, this is fun.
Want to read that?
I love the beet. So beet juice was used by ancient Romans as an aphrodisiac. Most people don't know that. Actually, I recently found this out thanks to Carrie. That's such a fun fact. And the nitrates in beets increase blood flow and they're good for heart health. I love juicing mine or roasted beets in the oven is so yummy in salads. And they contain high amounts of boron, which aids in the production of our sex hormones. And everybody knows that if your sex hormones are imbalanced, you don't feel good. We talked a lot about that our last seminar together. Yeah. So foods that lower your risk factors for cholesterol, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes type 2.
Oh, there you're talking about weight.
Yep, and yeah, all weight related, obesity related.
And not that these foods are necessarily for losing weight, but they will help you losing belly fat because they're not going to be.
Absolutely.
For instance, avocados is a healthy monosaturated fat. You can eat that all over a salad instead of a ranch, mayo, white dressing that contains eggs and artificial oils. So we've listed a few foods, talking about freshwater fish, salmon, fatty fishes.
Definitely your fruits and berries too. Berries are loaded with antioxidants, so berries really can help with that. And pomegranate. Love pomegranate. Actually, that's one of the big things that we like to see people with cardiac disease implementing in their daily regimen. So pomegranate's amazing in smoothies. You can buy them frozen. It doesn't But they're not that hard. They're kind of fun to peel apart and learn.
It's a fun fruit.
And my kids love that, taking apart pomegranates. They get so excited. Oh, we skipped bananas at the top. Great source of potassium.
Can help lower your blood pressure by 27%. Lower risk of heart disease.
Yes.
Again, these aren't foods for dieting, but they are foods to help your heart stay healthy and keep the cholesterol out of the arteries.
And they can be part of a healthy diet, daily diet. Most of these things, I eat every day. I do more of the flax seeds and chia seeds. I don't, I'm vegan, so I avoid all the fish, but I'm still getting in that good omegas, and the almonds and walnuts are amazing.
How do you get your omegas?
I take a vegan supplement to make sure. Just to make sure I stay.
But it's not from an anchovy or
no.
From a plant.
Yeah, your flax seeds and chia. A lot of your seeds will help with that too. I wonder why it does that. Okay.
Oats and barley. Oats are good, as we know, for lowering your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. They're also a great source of fiber. Barley has a vitamin B6 and magnesium, which helps break down oxalates. And oxalates are the primary cause of kidney stones in the urine.
Yes, they are. Nobody loves those. So we've got garlic too. Garlic breath. We all love that. But with the mask on, it's much easier to eat garlic these days. So it helps lower your blood pressure. It reduces triglycerides. Garlic has actually a lot of other health benefits too. So that's a fun one we'd like to see incorporated.
Fruits and berries are antioxidants and reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, which contribute to the development of heart disease.
That is true. And I think that's a really good, I like the word oxidative stress and inflammation in there. Those are your keys. If you've got that going on, you're doing your heart a disservice. And so if you know that you're someone who's got a lot of inflammation in the body, you're making your heart work harder.
Right.
And so anything that's going to help the heart is going to help reduce inflammation. That's the whole ticket to heart health, is really keeping down the oxidative stress and inflammation.
And our oxidative stress comes from our environment as well.
Oh, definitely.
So
definitely.
It's not just all about our foods, but in our environment.
Well,
the air we breathe, the whatnots that we smoke, or right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's tons of that. And keeping that in mind, and just having a good detox regimen. The IVs are really helpful. Apple cider vinegar baths are amazing.
Oh, and peroxide baths?
Yeah, and peroxide baths. Yep. So your dark green leafy vegetables. I love spinach and kale, my favorites. My body actually craves spinach. You know that? Like, I crave it.
For the iron reason.
Yeah, it must
be. If you're low on iron, you crave it.
Yeah, I love it. I could eat a bag of spinach every day.
And with me, when I know I'm low on iron, it's about once every 6-7 weeks, I just eat a very small piece of lean red meat. Not that we're proponents of red meat, but for heart health, which we're not. But if your body needs iron, it needs iron. You need to get it from whatever source it's comfortable.
That's true. And it's got so many good vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, kind of like the fruits and berries. It's really going to help all of the different stress and inflammation. Good for brain health too. And extra virgin olive oil. Where do you buy your olive oil from?
From Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
I try to get organic.
Yeah, I'll do Whole Foods. There's also a really fun company for anyone listening who's local. And we get no proceeds. I just think their olive oil is incredible. It's Bighorn Olive Oil Company.
Yes, I've been there.
Oh my gosh.
They have amazing organic olive oil.
Yeah. It's really clean. It's all imported. It's the true olive oil, because some of them, so the big thing with olive oils, you have to look and make sure there's that label on it, because they mix in a bunch of crap oil.
Yes.
And as long as it makes a certain percentage of the oil in the bottle is extra virgin, they're allowed to advertise it as that. So olive oil is one of those sneaky foods that just make sure you're getting what you're paying for. Make sure it's pure olive oil. But if any of you get a chance to go over to Bighorn Olive Oil Company, I didn't know how good olive oil could actually taste.
Oh, I know.
It's amazing.
So with olive oil, it's like picking out a red wine.
Yes.
So Like for instance, the grapes are from certain regions of France or Italy or Spain. Same with the olives. The olives come from regions in Europe. So depending on where the olive is grown, the olive will have a different taste. Like some olive oils might say fruity and nutty. Another olive oil might say savory and peppery. So it's just like picking out a nice wine.
It totally.
You can pick out the olives to match a dish that you're working on. It's so good.
Yeah, I agree. This I really like the Spanish olives for olive oil. I don't know what it is. They just are amazing. Move this over here. Okay.
Here we have the differences, other things that can lower your risk factor, differences between krill oil and regular fish oil. Krill is a tiny crustacean, lives in the Antarctic oceans, and it's a dietary supplement for whales and seals and penguins and seabirds. Krill oil contains EPAs and DHAs. It looks different than fish oil because it has an orange color, orange reddish color that's just indigenous to that natural krill. The fatty acids in fish are found in the form of triglycerides. So basically, experts believe that krill oil can help increase absorption and effectiveness. So, and then fish oil is from salmon, mackerel, what else? Another fatty fish, salmon, mackerel.
Salmon and mackerel are the big ones. And you want the krill too, the ones that are made from the smaller, if you're going to be buying, this as a supplement over the counter.
And you were saying you get yours from plants. I used to buy it was called plant parent oil from plants.
Okay. Yeah.
It gave me a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to find, but so in other words, you don't have to use fish as your omega. You can use plants as well.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. And our fish oil, anchovies, mackerel, and salmon.
Anchovies.
Yeah. And anchovies are preferable actually because they're so much of a smaller fish. So they're going to have less of the mercury and toxins in it. Because the bigger the fish, they're eating. Yeah. They're eating the little fish. And so their toxicity, like their mercury levels are much higher.
That's a cool fun fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The smaller the fish, the cleaner the fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's cool. You can see that if it's made from like the krill or anchovies, something smaller. A lot of the kid ones, my kids are on one, and the one from Costco, actually, it's affordable. It's organic and it's made from the small fish, which is
no
good.
other tropical oils in that.
Yeah.
No other nasty oils.
No, it's a really good one.
At Costco, really?
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember the brand. They're little chewable gummies. I think they're called Smarty Pants. Don't quote me, but they eat it. So sometimes that's half the battle with kids. Trans fat and refined sugar. These
are foods to avoid. Now these are definite no-nos, guys.
Yeah, and I think this goes outside of the heart health window. This goes into
diabetes and obesity.
Yeah, and
inflammation.
Obesity related diseases is the number one killer of human beings on the planet, is obesity related disease. So this would go, this is just, it is for heart health, but this is a blanket statement.
Avoiding all these, especially salt. I think I'm pretty sure Dr. Nario talked about that in his heart webinar last week about salt, and going for the pink Himalayan salt and not salting your food while you're cooking your food. Wait till your dish is prepared. Taste it if it needs a bit of sea salt, but you're not going to want to add it and heat it up during the time you're cooking it.
Definitely.
Is that what you're understanding?
Definitely, yeah. Because you want to keep the water content and the molecular structure of the foods you're eating the same, and salt at the end. And so pink Himalayan salt and true sea salt will both have the trace minerals.
Oh, that's true.
Those two, you can kind of alternate. I do, just depending on, like if we're doing maybe an avocado toast, I love the pink Himalayan sea salt on that. But if I'm doing just a dinner, sometimes it's I'll just sprinkle on the meal.
Can you tell when you're low in sodium, natural sodium?
The biggest sign when you're low in natural sodium is fatigue. And so even women like that are going through adrenal fatigue, one of the big things we'll do is have you wake up with a warm glass of lemon water with a little sprinkle of pink Himalayan sea salt. Wake up those adrenals and get things going.
See how you feel, and then you'll know.
Yeah,
if you're low.
Yep, totally, because you feel so exhausted. So that's, hey, women or men too, anyone really suffering from like chronic fatigue or extreme adrenal fatigue, that little warm salt water and with lemon, man, it can change your whole day. It really can. You won't need the coffee.
Another thing with salt is I had made over the weekend, I had a friend over and I made a cauliflower broccoli. It's called au gratin. It was a frozen item from Trader Joe's. Well, I baked it. Super delicious, of course, because it's au gratin and it has some, Italian cheeses in there.
Sure.
And not even an hour later, guys, I'm kind of crashed on the couch and company's gone. And all of a sudden my heart started beating out of my chest. Palpitations like crazy. I got up. I was dizzy. I'm like, holy crap. What in the world? So I looked at the package of frozen Trader Joe's au gratin, yummy. And there was like 850 milligrams of salt in there.
Per serving.
It sent my heart through the roof.
Wow.
Just completely. The next day, my eyes were swollen. My lips were swollen. It was crazy.
It's amazing
how salt can blow you up.
It totally can. Even your tummy.
Everything,
where you're like, wow, I'm 6 months pregnant and I'm a dude. Like, how did this happen?
Never buy the au gratin again. It was horrible.
But what I love too about that is that's almost a testament to how clean you're eating too.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. I guess
when you're doing a really good job most of the time and you have a little
something
treat,
bad, it just
kicks your butt and you're like, that's not worth it.
It wasn't worth it.
That's my thing when we're at like holiday dinners. I always ask the family, I'm like, is it worth it? Is the bread really that good?
You ask your family members?
Most of the time they're like, no. I'm
because
like,
they
thanks.
know.
Yeah.
But do they clean and they know if they have bread? They're like, wow, that's making me
it depends.
Feel well.
It depends how they're eating the rest of the time. Some people get so used to feeling bad.
They don't know what feeling good is about.
Yeah.
And the energy. Vegetables can provide so much energy. What's the name of the Arnold Schwarzenegger film? We're going to plug it. We don't know Arnold, but plug the film now.
All right. You read the next part. I'm looking it up.
Only because we're talking about foods. All right. So red meats, including the Italian meats, prosciutto, capicola. These are all very, very fatty parts of the pig, and they will clog your arteries. I know I grew up on Italian meats, but I haven't had any in quite a long time. Even with the pizza, I don't ever even have a salami or pepperoni because they're loaded with fat. Anything white, sugar, flour, rice, pasta, again, causing inflammation. Anything white is going to be acidic as heck and will throw off your pH and will cause a lot of inflammation. Inflammation equals, here's an equal sign, inflammation equals, it could either be a headache, a skin rash, pain, joint inflammation, joint pain, muscle pain. So foods are a direct relation to how you feel. Absolutely. And acidic foods like anything white will cause inflammation.
Yeah.
I forgot milk.
It's so refined.
I should have said milk.
Dairy.
But dairy, yeah.
Dairy. And then how about the energy drinks?
Oh.
I think this one gets overlooked.
But
often.
This, what are they putting? Ephedra? What are they putting in those energy drinks that can cause the heart palpitations? I've seen evidence of kids just their heart just is out of control.
There's caffeine. It's just it's addictive. It's very taxing actually on the body. Like a lot of people don't understand that until it's sucking the life out of your adrenals. It's kind of kicking in and it's kicking your body into overdrive, and it's pulling out hormones that you need to function normally. And at the end of the day, I always go back to adrenal fatigue because it's so common and it's so undertreated, and people don't realize that. It's just like, I'm tired all the time, I'm getting older. And a lot of it is like our stressful lifestyles and our culture. We're one thing to the next. I'm guilty of it too. And we're always exhausted.
In other words, it's not just this list of foods, it's how we live and how we absorb our stress or
And that's part of
Get
heart
rid of
health
it.
too, right?
Yeah.
We all need love.
Stress affects the heart.
Yes, it does.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. It does.
You can have a heart palpitation driving down the road, and in the back of your mind, it's because of something you're going through in a stressful situation.
Sure.
That's causing the heart to go.
And that we get anxiety and all sorts of other things that are just so bad for our heart. So
the kids out there should really avoid these energy drinks that are pumped full of garbage.
And they need to be taken out of our schools. That's what's terrible. They're in elementary schools. Or
served?
They're in vending machines.
Really?
Yeah.
The ones loaded with caffeine?
Yeah.
How did we miss that as parents? Okay.
Our society. That's America.
Tropical oils.
Yes.
Palm kernel oil, not necessarily palm oil, but palm kernel oil can raise your LDL. It's loaded with saturated fat. And coconut oil, I mean, personally, I used to think that was fine, but new studies have shown.
Yeah, well, coconut oil is also, that's one of the rabbit holes we can go down. If anyone has a question, we can go there.
I think Dr. Nario
talked about
that last week in the thumbs down column.
Yeah, but it is a medium chain triglyceride, so it is taken in different to where there's other studies that do suggest that it does not affect your LDL. So
I mean, because I use it.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. And it's with the higher cooking temperature too. I think it's a little better.
Okay.
No sugar, high cocoa, dark chocolate.
Think about that.
For avoiding it? The no sugar?
Oh, that should have been on the list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dark chocolate with no sugar is on the good list.
This one got mixed up in lists. Sorry.
Yep.
Folks.
Wrong slide for this guy. Actually, that would be awesome. And I have a piece of dark chocolate every day.
Yes.
It's a raw vegan, no sugar, and it's incredible, and I love it. So we like chocolate for heart health.
I just threw this one in there because I thought everyone would already know. Dr. Nario talked about it. Is smoking bad for your heart? The answer is yes.
Yeah, please don't. It's gross anyway. All right. So the countries that have the lower rates of cardiovascular disease, actually, what are the two worst? It's the United States and Mexico.
It would definitely be the United States.
The United States is number one. Absolutely.
Aren't we number one? And this is not to be
colon cancer, obesity, heart disease. Yeah, because
women's heart disease.
And look at our grocery stores compared to anywhere else. Look at our restaurants. It's just, I don't know how we've been allowed to do this to our country, to be honest, and how this became okay.
I'm so guilty, and this isn't like a confession. I'm so guilty of being in the grocery store and looking at what's in other people's carts and then looking at what they look like compared to what's in their carts. I can tell you it's a direct match.
Yeah.
Your grocery cart is full of just garbage and processed.
Well, and I think a big thing too, maybe on the foods to avoid, is processed foods in general. Because if you think about it, that they're taking shortcuts around things to make mass production. There's preservatives in there. There's chemicals. There's higher sodium content.
He just didn't put it in there. I have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I remember being at Whole Foods one day. I'm just doing my shopping, and I'm waiting my 6 feet behind this couple in front of me, and they are proud of themselves.
What they have in their cart.
They are like, yes, we're eating healthy. Who knew eating healthy could be so expensive? And they didn't have a single fresh fruit or vegetable in their entire cart.
What was everything processed and frozen?
Boxes, frozen. And it's like,
processed.
Well, I don't care if they're gluten-free pretzels. They're still pretzels.
And they probably cost $6.50.
I don't care if you're eating organic corn chips and organic cheese. Those are still nachos. And I think there's this whole concept that where people they get stuck and they don't realize. So processed food is definitely one of those things to watch out for. And
you have to read. Yeah, you have to read the labels when you're in the grocery store. If something says healthy, like Healthy Choice, I've looked at the back of a Healthy Choice, frozen this, that. What's the other brand that's supposed to be healthy?
There's Smart Choice or something too.
They are loaded with sodium. And guess what? Sugar.
and GMOs and carbohydrates
tropical oils,
and like all the
how is it healthy?
Citric acid and gums and
the guar gums. There's nothing healthy in those.
There's
healthy choice is not a good choice.
They're loaded with corn, gluten.
Corn fillers.
Yeah, it's really a lot of the oils they use are the cheap, crappy oils. So yeah, it's tricky on how to really make good choices. And it's hard. You got to work when you're changing your lifestyle around, especially if you're new to this.
You have to be picky. You have to grocery shop yourself and pick things out.
Yep. And then I cook in bulk too. And that saves my butt when I'm tired.
And if your grocery cart looks like the color wheel, it's good. Greens, purples, oranges, fruits, veggies.
You know, a good tip someone taught me after I was a nutritionist. One of my patients taught me this and I loved it. I wish I remembered her name. I'd give her credit right now. So if you're watching this, thank you. I'm using your tip for everyone. But your cart, you should split your cart and at least 70% of your cart should
like
be,
the pie will.
Yeah, should be all fresh fruits and veggies. And you can have a little section in the back if you need that for box stuff, but but 70% of your cart. And I had done it that way, but it's actually when you set up your cart that you fill that whole section, or you can only fill a section of your cart. It makes it really, it's like, okay, if my cart isn't full of fruits and veggies, we're doing something wrong here.
Okay.
And so it really helped me mentally visualize my cart to make sure I was on track.
It's a good idea.
And I was even eating healthy at the time. It was just making sure I was buying enough of the good stuff.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
And granted, you have to shop more often.
You do, because your stuff is fresh.
And be creative with your meals. A lot of people only buy vegetables to have chopped on the side or as a condiment. That's not what what they do with their vegetables. They roast them or have a giant salad or just a big roasted veggie meal.
And I'll tell you one other thing I do to make sure I get my greens in is every day before dinner, I have a big dinner salad.
Oh, that is a good trick. I do that too.
Yeah, and it's loaded with almonds and bell peppers and cucumber and avocado and all the yummy stuff.
And it takes away your craving for junk food. Or
and then when I sit down with my plate, it still has like legumes, maybe quinoa and broccoli. It's still got more and more veggies. So that's another good fun trick. Okay. So, here's why the other countries have lower rates of cardiac disease. They consume smaller portions. They definitely eat more fermented foods. Green tea is a huge one.
It's almost a staple, right?
Yeah, I think it's a staple with every dinner. They eat a lot less red meat and much more fatty fish. Fish is really the primary protein source in these other countries for them. Oh, and walking. I love visiting other countries or even like big cities, like in Chicago or like downtown San Francisco. It's like you don't want to deal with a car.
You're walking 6 hours
everywhere.
You're walking 6 hours.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
And how many people and you guys can probably attest to this. How many people do you know say, I went to Italy, I ate
that was me.
Pastries every morning. I had pizza every day,
and beer,
and pasta, and wine, and I lost weight.
9.5 pounds, folks, in 2 weeks.
How many people and that's so much of that.
And we did eat that much.
Well, their food is better quality.
It's organic.
Yeah, it's so different. But then you're walking everywhere.
Right.
So yeah, that's a whole nother. Let's all go to Italy. I'll eat pizza with everyone. And mental health, meditation, to decrease like chronic pain, stress, and inflammation. Meditation's amazing. We all know that I'm our little meditation guru over here. I am a cheerleader of meditation because it changes everything physiology. So that's a great one for for your heart health. And supporting healthy relationships and behaviors, because like we were talking about earlier, the Notebook, a broken heart is really a true condition. And really just having relationships that are healthy and conducive to a good, stress-free, loving environment and not a toxic one is really going to be good for your heart, for sure. All right. Question time. Was there any more slides here you wanted?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for this. I'm going to stop our screen share and we're going to get to our questions. I saw a bunch of questions popping up. So thank you guys. Ooh, is a ketogenic diet good for heart health?
It's a lot of protein. I know, and animal protein.
Yeah. That's a great question. And there is two things we would recommend. One is the book How Not to Die.
Mm-hmm.
We recommend to all of our patients here. And there's another documentary on Netflix. Who doesn't love Arnold Schwarzenegger? This is what we were talking about a little while ago.
Here we go.
Called The Game Changers.
Right.
And The Game Changers I love because it really I love the book too, but Game Changers really made they did all of these cool tests with people, and they took these men and they were able to feed them. They fed them one day all like a vegetarian burrito, a chicken burrito, a steak burrito, and they took their blood and they showed them what their blood looked like and how thick, how much fat was literally in their blood.
Were these all bodybuilders in this flick?
Or not? A lot of athletes, not all bodybuilders. No,
okay.
But professional athletes.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see like professional baseball players, and
so even the ones with super low body fat, like 2%.
Yeah, and healthy guys that work out all the time. So when they ate even vegetarian, where they had dairy, like the cheese in there, they had very thick serum. When their blood, separated, you could just see it. And then they fed them all the next day vegan burritos. They still had burritos. It was still wrapped in a tortilla. It wasn't gluten-free, anything like that. And they showed what their serum blood looked like, and it was way cleaner. And so truly having that fat from an animal source really is damaging to the arteries and to your blood and what's circulating. So there is a place, I believe, for ketogenic diets, but when we're looking at heart health, we really need to keep the animal fats out of it, if at all possible. And that book, How Not to Die, really supports and offers a lot of scientific evidence.
Does our caller have a heart condition? Is why they're asking about that? Does it say whether they do have a concern? Is why they're asking about the ketogenic diet? Does
no,
it say on
that was
question?
Mario.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
It was just a question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on chia seeds for omega-3s? Love them. My only 2 cents on this was I had I suggested chia seeds for a patient who's currently doing smoothies, and I don't remember if it was him or his wife, but they were real aggressive with the chia seeds and put a lot in.
Oh, too much?
I think it created a lot of GI.
Don't they sort
upset.
of gelatinize and sort of
they do
expand?
They do, which I love in smoothies because then they can be a lot more
like
filling.
A feeling of fullness.
Yeah. But I wouldn't jump into like a quarter of a cup of chia seeds in your smoothie either.
But I've noticed too, being colon hydrotherapist, that chia seeds can cause some constipation in those that have low peristalsis anyways.
So then know your body too.
Right.
Yeah.
Your conditions or not conditions.
There's a really good recipe I love too. It's a smashed banana and a little bit of like coconut milk or almond milk and some chia seeds. And if that's not quite sweet enough, just a dollop of like maple syrup.
Do you eat that with a spoon?
Yeah, you mix it up overnight and eat it in the morning. It's like pudding for breakfast. Okay. And I'm a grab and go breakfast girl. I do not get up early. I love my sleep. And so anything that I can grab that's quicker, that's a really fun one. The only thing is with the banana, it turns kind of gray. It looks like a gray pudding, but it's delicious, and it's just the color because it sat in the fridge. So yes, love chia seeds for that.
Yes.
Okay, what are other good sources for vegan omega-3s? Your chia seeds, your flax seeds, a lot of it's going to be your seeds too, is kind of the big thing.
Seeds have a lot of nutrients.
Yeah. Yep. I have pumpkin seeds I keep in my diet. Walnuts are definitely a good one. If you've got some poor thyroid health, even a few Brazil nuts, like 2 Brazil nuts a day.
And sunflower seeds are okay if they're not loaded or coated with oils and salts. Just raw.
Yeah. And there's so much awareness in the food industry now.
The seeds.
Yeah, that you can find a lot of raw seeds. And my thing with nuts and seeds is buy small, because they can actually go rancid to where you can't taste it, but the health and nutrient benefits aren't there. So that's something I don't buy from Costco. That's something I buy a small amount of.
In the raw. Well, they must have a born-on date on them then, if they're.
Yeah, there's dates. There's dates, but
Use by.
Yeah, but I watch that. So that's another good good thing just to kind of consider, especially with your nuts are a little more unstable than your seeds are. Your seeds aren't a big issue, but it's kind of the nuts. When you're buying the raw nuts, you want to keep those the health benefits.
I think I've even seen seed packets to where it's almost like a peel and squeeze sort of a situation with the seeds.
Yeah. There's all sorts of fun stuff. Is there a role of fiber on heart health? Oh, Miss Carrie, that's a you.
Yes, you definitely need enough fiber to push plaque through the arteries. You need to lower LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. Fiber is good for the gut, but we're talking about the fiber that comes from processed foods, but that comes from whole foods. Things like broccoli, any sort of chopped vegetables, oats, nuts, seeds, but in small quantities. Fiber is good. Apples, celery.
Yeah, I like that too. Bananas, that's also the same. Cool. So what is your tip for first-time healthy eating, short on time folks, for the easiest recipe to make that includes fresh veggies?
Frozen and steamed. I mean, that's a time saver. You don't have to chop it. You lightly steam it so it's not mush. If you steam something till it's mush, broccoli, cauliflower, then it has no fiber left in it. You want it sort of semi.
I'm a cheater.
Al dente.
I like Instapot and crock pots.
Okay.
Love them. And I can do oh my gosh, not roasted. If you take big sweet potatoes, stick them in the crock pot with a little water and onion and garlic, and let them just cook all day. You've got a whole baked potato, and all you have to do.
It's like a stew. It sounds like a stew.
Oh, it
sounds
so
amazing.
Good, and it
sounds amazing.
Full of water, so it's filling and yummy. With some fresh steamed veggies or a quick salad. And I think that my biggest thing when I first switched, especially switching to vegan, I've eaten healthy for a long time. Most of my life, I just gravitated towards healthy foods. I didn't like donuts and popcorn and sugary cereals. But it was really like, at first I was in the mentality of, I liked, say, tacos. So I'm going to try to make vegan tacos instead of fish tacos. And I kept failing. It was like,
because of all the ingredients that were in it. Like,
I just couldn't.
Instead of meat, use what? Instead of cheese, use what? Instead of the taco shell, you use what?
Yeah. So I just,
what are you left with? Something in a bowl.
Right. So when I finally let that go, like, I don't need to replace a hamburger with a veggie burger. I actually hate veggie burgers. I don't like them.
I think they're nasty.
Yeah. I think they're gross, and never really ate hamburgers anyway. So instead of one of my big tips too, because I needed to wrap my head around eating different. And so instead of trying to make my favorite dessert healthy, I found new healthy things that could replace that old, bad, unhealthy dessert.
I see.
Yeah. So I started I do a lot of stir fries, where you just kind of throw a bunch of veggies and stuff in. I roast a ton of veggies. That's another easy thing too for quick things. There's an app called Forks Over Knives. It used to be free. I'm not sure if it's still free anymore or not, but it has I
remember all the slides.
Yeah, I like Forks Over Knives mainly because I'm a very visual human, and it's
Mhm.
got pictures of yummy food.
Mhm.
And who doesn't want, like, that's how I pick what I want for dinner, is I look for a good picture.
Mhm.
And then I give the app to my kids too. And I'm like, hey, pick out what's for dinner, or they get to star their favorite
Mhm.
recipes. And
That's a
so
great
I
idea.
can go to this log of things I know they're going to eat because it looks good. And most of those are easy, like 30-minute dinners. They're not
Mhm.
tough. But definitely cooking in bulk is a lifesaver,
Mhm.
especially
I
if,
do that on some days. Cooking
yes.
at least enough for 3 meals that I can, it's already partially done, and just bring it out and
Absolutely.
you reheat it.
Yeah.
Whatnot. So
Yeah. Once or twice. And then if you make so much extra, freeze some of it.
Mhm.
And so that way there's still frozen food you can pull out later that's already cooked. Because I make my spaghetti sauce from scratch,
Mhm.
but I make so much that I've got 2 servings that I'm freezing for
No,
another
that's
meals
perfect.
in the future.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
And then leftovers for a couple days.
Mhm.
So, because it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it. Okay. Besides toast and guacamole, do you have any other tips on how to use avocado in a vegetarian or vegan diet?
Avocados are great in smoothies. They're good in. Don't you make a brownie with an avocado?
You can make brownies with avocado. You can make
Salad dressing.
yeah.
I use avocado as my salad dressing.
Actually, yeah, you can smash
With
it up.
the extra virgin olive oil.
There's a couple of fun desserts.
And
I've
herbs.
also made a chocolate mousse, a vegan
Oh.
mousse with avocado.
Right.
That is delicious.
You would never know it's an avocado.
No,
but it's got all the healthy
Mm-mm.
fats, and it's
Mhm.
thick like a pudding.
And
or
it looks
dessert.
like a chocolate mousse.
Mhm.
So that's another fun one.
Mhm.
I love it in smoothies because it adds
Mhm.
that thickness.
Mhm.
And especially if your avocados are starting to turn brown, where you're like, it's not going to be that pretty on a salad.
Might as well throw it in a smoothie, yeah.
Freeze it. And then when you throw it in your smoothie, it makes it creamy, like ice cream.
Oh, right.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's what I do. And that's how I save food. That if I'm like, I bought too much, or this is just turning faster than I wanted, I take it out of and put it in a little baggie and freeze it in the freezer. What's other good ways with avocado? Man,
I'm trying to think of some way you could use it for a dinner item.
There's like a Mediterranean salad, avocado, tomato, and cucumber, with a little, that really yummy olive oil. And oh my goodness, that sounds
Avocados
delicious
are
right
really
now.
filling.
Yeah, avocados are amazing. So they kind of go in everything. There's also, I do taco or burritos for the kids, sweet potatoes, black beans, guacamole. You can also, or not guacamole, avocado.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And you can also, there's an.
Do you use an actual burrito wrap, or you just in a bowl situation?
It depends.
Okay.
If we're doing quinoa with it. There's, you can make a green goddess dressing, salad dressing with avocado and cilantro and lime juice. That's delicious. I hope that helps. Avocado's a favorite. All right. Are all maple syrups the same? No, they're not.
You're the expert on the maple syrup.
I am an expert on the maple syrups. So they are not. You'll want a grade A, and you'll want definitely organic, because some of the maple trees can be sprayed with pesticides. So it's not one of your dirty dozen, but it's probably number 13 or 14. So maple syrup, definitely getting organic is good. And it is expensive when you buy like the top grade A.
I just bought some for breakfast from last month.
Yeah.
There was only about 4 ounces straight from a tree in Vermont.
Yeah. And how much was it?
It was like $8.
$8 for 4 ounces. So
but it was so yummy.
Costco carries the big jug that you see for $20 everywhere for like $12. And it's
real deal?
It's your grade A, real deal. The only thing is that it is in a plastic container. It's not glass. And so I do really like the glass containers.
Me too. Yeah.
But to save money, I kind of jump back and forth, to be honest. I do buy it in the plastic container sometimes. So that's definitely, food for thought. But that's a great question. And I use maple syrup, by the way, because honey shouldn't be really hot. Honey should be taken warm, not hot, because it can break down and you can get carcinogens. So I use maple syrup in my honey. When I do drink coffee, I use it in my coffee. Maple syrup is my go-to, unless I'm traveling and honey is just easier to take. Yeah. Okay. Good, simple exercise plan for heart health for a busy person.
Walking.
Yep.
Everyone can walk 15 minutes equals 1 mile.
Yep.
Everyone has 15 minutes.
Yep. Even when you don't think you have 15 minutes,
The end.
you have 15 minutes. And that's it. Really walking. It's taking that extra time. And it's, one thing I know, I'm sure you're like this too, Carrie, especially if you're introducing an exercise plan into your day, schedule it in like it's work.
Yes.
Because it's something you're doing to honor your body. And when you can schedule that in, that's...
You're right, because often people don't view exercise as pleasure.
Right. But that time
I get pleasure out of it when I'm finished. But do I view it as pleasure? I view it as it's good for me.
Yeah, I never want to go to the gym, but I always feel good that I went.
And while I'm on that walk, I say, I'm so glad I'm doing this. My heart's pumping.
Yep.
I'm breathing fresh oxygen.
And even on bad weather days, quite honestly, if you can get outside, even if it's a little shorter, if it's 10 minutes. I went in the rain the other day.
I went when it was 20, when it was 29 degrees a couple weeks ago. Just bundled up.
Bundle up, put your hat on, tie your hair back.
Did it.
And that fresh air, it just is so good. And it does become addicting to some, I don't know, extent, I guess.
Hills are good for cardiovascular if you can find a 30 or a 45 degree.
For the gym, really moving. Moving is what it is all about. Okay, we are getting close on time, so we've got a few more questions. Get your questions in if you have anything come up. You mentioned cooking in bulk. What type of food containers do you use to freeze the leftovers, and how long do they last? That's a great question. I don't have plastic containers at my house. I only
glass,
have
right? The glass.
Yeah,
I have those.
Yep, I have the glass Tupperware. That does great to hold stuff in the freezer. And I kind of keep an eye on it too. My stuff,
date it.
I date it, and I'm aware of it. It's never in there for longer than probably 2 to 3 months is my guess. But at that point, you want it still to taste fresher and not like have the freezer burn. But it helps when you have that in there and you're like, okay, I'm not gonna have time to get to the store. This is what we're having for dinner tomorrow night. So I'm gonna pull this stuff out of the freezer.
Like with the pasta sauce.
So easy.
With the marinara, it's done.
So easy. And with my marinara too, I'll blend in veggies so the kids don't know. And they love it and they have no idea what's in it.
Perfect.
That's my little secret. Hope they're not watching. Okay, any tips on how to make healthy eating more affordable? Yes. My biggest tip on that is Dirty Dozen. Because buying organic and non-GMO is so important. Your Dirty Dozen list is definitely going to be one of those things where I would, if you had to pick and choose what you're going to buy organic or not, to pick the more affordable thing, I would definitely go off that list. So never buy strawberries that aren't organic. Strawberries and spinach are kind of your two big things, but things that you can buy, there's also a list called Clean 15. So that's definitely something to follow. So your Clean 15, like asparagus doesn't really matter. Broccoli doesn't matter. Avocado doesn't matter. So you can really kind of be aware and just
buy those in bulk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Freeze them.
Yep. And I'll tell you, taking those pesticides and GMOs out can really change your health and how you feel. There are so many people when we do Zyto scans that are sensitive to that stuff.
Would you suggest taking a raw vegetable and par steaming it before you freeze it, or you just freeze it raw? Because I've never frozen anything raw. I feel like the water content is lost sometimes if that happens.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. What do you do?
Whenever I freeze it, it is always cooked.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, except for my fruit. My fruit never is.
Right. No.
Yeah.
But veggies.
Yeah, veggies. Veggies are. But what, I am a smoothie girl, so I buy tons of fruit, and it's so easy because as soon as everyone's sick of blueberries, those
Here
go in the
comes
freezer.
another, right,
Yeah,
right.
it's easy. And then sometimes I'll even make smoothie bags with the spinach and pineapple and blueberries and cucumber, avocado all together. Yeah, makes it much easier. So I hope that helps for tips on eating more affordable and really watching where you shop too. It's kind of a pain, but I don't use one grocery store. I use 3. There's very specific things that I get in, one place that I can't find anywhere else. And I do most of my shopping at Sprouts.
What is Michael saying?
Is the jury still out on oatmeal?
No, reduces LDL.
Yep. I think the big thing with oatmeal is it's kind of like the baked potato. The potato's fine for you. It's all the stuff people put on it. And I think oatmeal's very similar, right? It's the brown sugar, the butter, the milk.
Throwing sugar on it.
Yeah. Oatmeal, a little bit of cinnamon, fresh berries, and some, like a few chopped almonds in there.
Have your berries be your sweetener.
Your sweetener, banana, a little drizzle of maple syrup, but not throwing in like a pound of butter. That's how my grandma used to make
also
it.
steel cut oats versus instant. Instant is just a mushy, no fiber, no good for you.
And if you've got some tummy issues or weight issues, even if you're like, pre-diabetic or something, the sprouted oats it's so much more gentle on your tummy. So I'm one that has got a really sensitive tummy. I love oatmeal. But the sprouted oatmeal changes everything.
Is it the long cooking 20-minute one? The sprouted one?
I don't think so.
I know the steel is.
No, I just put in my boiled water and you let it sit for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, it doesn't.
Okay, cool.
But man, it makes such a difference.
So quick and easy.
Yeah.
Where can you buy the sprouted? Is it prevalent in every grocery store or only Whole Foods?
No, Sprouts or Raley's should have it.
Okay.
Yeah. Whole Paycheck has it, I'm sure, but to save money, I'm a Sprouts fan. And Trader Joe's, I just never get out that way. All right. Since healthy eating involves plenty of fresh foods, how can you make those fresh veggies last a bit longer, or how can you reduce the food waste?
In freezing.
I love that. Okay. So definitely freezing some of them that you've cooked, or and if you're going to do that, if you're cooking in bulk, kind of like Carrie said, like if I'd blanch my first round of broccoli and set it aside, let it cool to where it's not totally cooked. So that way I can take that broccoli and throw it back into, a little steamy pot, and it will finish cooking.
Right.
And as it heats it up.
As you're actually making your meal.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally easy. Another thing with reducing food waste. Okay. So this is huge. So when you're chopping things up and you've got cores and peels and so I save all of that stuff, and I freeze it so it's fresh, but like the pieces of the onion that you cut off an end or just all that extra, the tip of the zucchini.
Do you use that for a broth?
I make a stock.
I'm gonna guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I figured.
Because it adds so much flavor to your cooking later.
It does.
Yeah, especially if you're doing sautés or cooking quinoa. Like it just infuses so much yummy flavor.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And so that's it. Luckily, I have a fridge in my garage too, so I'm able to
put like the scrap stuff that you'll end up using, but you're not actually.
Your winter soups and stews, you can use that broth and use that again, and then you're not wasting anything. You've literally used everything. And I'm kind of big on not wasting.
Did you say peels?
Yeah.
Of the onion, and what else?
It depends.
Not a potato, of a yam?
Well, I don't peel my yams. I eat the skin because of the fiber, and it's so good for you. But say I were to peel a lemon, I'll use that. Not necessarily in the broth, but I do use that in other stuff. I love lemon. That's so good in crock pot meals.
That's a great idea,
and
Jen.
Soups. Yeah.
Good ideas.
Thank you. All right. Hold on. Getting there. Okay. Are there any specific spices that support heart health?
Cayenne. Black pepper. What else?
Turmeric.
Turmeric, the good one.
Yeah, turmeric and black pepper together is good.
Mm-hmm.
And cinnamon.
Cinnamon, very good. Berberine, cinnamon, all good to lower LDL and support heart health. Cinnamon can go in the smoothies. I had a lot of cinnamon in my smoothie. It had pumpkin, cinnamon, coconut water, half a frozen banana, and bone broth, protein powder, and wheatgrass. That was my dinner.
Yum.
Tasted like pie.
Yeah, well,
it was good.
Those are my favorite. Nice.
Pumpkin has a lot of potassium, so it had a lot of vitamins and minerals in it as well.
I love making my nice cream for dinner. I call it nice cream. It's some sort of protein shake or healthy vegan meal that tastes like dessert. Yeah, on a cheat night. Those are my cheat nights.
But it helps you stay on track too, so you don't reach for anything else. Not that we have a cookie in our house, you and I, but we might want a cookie if we don't have that.
Hey, sometimes the boys got these cute little Valentine. I bought them cute little Valentines with assorted chocolates. And I'm like, sit on your hands, don't touch those. Like mommy's gonna eat her vegan chocolate while you eat those.
Right, yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So I think we are about out of time. I am going to go ahead and run our poll now. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you.
Thanks, guys.
For joining us. I don't see our poll.
Maybe our commentator, our
tech support.
Maybe our
oh, there it goes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So our host, maybe our host can bring it up. Where's our host?
So please, everyone, take a few minutes. Let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear about in the future.
Tell them about your Reiki and heart health it's next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Next Tuesday, I'm doing a lecture on Reiki and heart health, and that's going to talk about love and meditation.
How Reiki can help your heart.
Yeah. And happy emotions. Yeah. And really just staying balanced. That will probably be a quick one, but I'd love to have you join me. It's on Friday. It's on Friday.
It's on a Friday?
Yep. We're doing it at 10 in the morning.
We are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. We're going to try a different time, too. Okay. So that's a fun one. If you guys can join us. I know we also record all of our webinars now, and we're putting them up on YouTube. So if there's any you've missed or that you want to check out and you can't make the time, definitely head to our YouTube channel and meet us over there. Why does this host? Oh, hosts and panelists can't vote. All right. So thank you, everyone, for joining us.